MegaPodTastic. Good morning, MegaPodlings. It's Krazy Joe, and I'm here today to talk to you about the new Blu-ray release of My Stepmother is an Alien, 1988, starring Kim Basinger, Dan Aykroyd, and, of course, Allison Hannigan, Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Allison Hannigan, Willow herself. I'm a huge Buffy fan, and Willow was like my favorite character on the show, so I love Allison Hannigan. So, yeah, there you go. My Stepmother's an Alien. Now, this video was sent to me for review by our friends over at Arrow Video, so I want to say a big thank you to Arrow Video for sending this my way to take a look at. I have seen this movie before, back in 1988 when it first came out. I saw it on VHS. I think I rented it from the video store as a wee lad. And it's one of those movies that I enjoyed it enough. I thought it was, funny at parts, but it wasn't a movie that ever made such an impact on me that I felt the need to rewatch it. So this is actually only my second time watching this movie in like a span of about 30 years. so there you go. It's been a long time since I saw this for the first time. And I just rewatched it, and I gotta say, it's kind of a fun movie. It's not, hilarious, but it does have several big laughs, and it's a fun film, quite frankly. And look, who doesn't love Dan Aykroyd? You gotta love Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, Kim Basinger gives a great performance. She's got some good comedic timing. This was about a year before Batman. This came out in December of 88, and Batman was June of 89. So it wasn't even a year. It was only like a few months. This film came out several months before Batman. And Batman is essentially the film that put her on the map. Obviously not her first film. She had done movies like Blind Date with Bruce Willis, and she had been in the James Bond movie Never Say Never Again. But, Batman, I think, was the first big, major blockbuster film that everybody saw Kim Basinger in. And this movie was just a few months before, and this movie was not a big hit. I think most people saw this film on VHS back in the 80s because it was not a big performer at the box office. So rewatching this, I would give this a fairly good recommendation. I think it's a fun movie. Here's the thing. It's not a great comedy, but when it works, it really works. Like, there's some scenes that are very funny. Like, for example, there's a scene in here when she, as an alien who does not understand, she's very much the fish out of water in this film. And there's a scene where she decides to make Dan Aykroyd breakfast. But she's never made breakfast before, so she goes to a diner and steals their menu and then proceeds to make every single menu item. So he's sitting down to breakfast, and she just keeps bringing out more and more and more and more food. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's funny. Jon Lovitz is in this too. He plays Dan Aykroyd's brother. I'm a big Jon Lovitz fan. So yeah, I do give this film a mild recommendation. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. But let's talk about the disc itself. Let's talk about the quality of the disc. First of all, I believe this is the first time the movie's ever been on Blu-ray. If it was on Blu-ray previously, I wasn't aware of it. But the Blu-ray quality, the image looks great. I imagine this film has not looked this good since it played in theaters. Certainly wouldn't have looked as good on VHS. So, seeing as very few people saw this in theaters, this is probably the best image of this movie most of you will have ever seen before. It looks terrific. It really does. It's also got some good special features on here. One in particular that I really want to talk about. With this. He married a girl from out of town. Way out of town. Also, I love the dog. I love the dog in this movie. All right, so let's talk about some of the special features in here. Okay, it says we got a brand new 2K restoration from the original camera negative, high definition 1080p Blu-ray presentation. Like I said, it looks terrific. And here is, first of all, we have a featurette on here called Cosmetic Encounters Directing My Stepmother's an Alien. And that is an interview with the director, Richard Benjamin. So I watched that. It's pretty good. It's not too long. I think it's maybe about 15 minutes long. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the runtime. I'm going by memory. I think it was about 15 minutes long, but it was a pretty good little featurette. Then we have the original trailer in there. And here's what I really enjoyed. There is a feature-length audio commentary track on here by a film critic and pop culture journalist by the name of Brian Reisman. Now, I got to tell you, I had never heard of Brian Reisman before. Finished watching the movie, and I thought, well, I don't really feel like sitting through the movie again and listening to a commentary track, but I do have to do my due diligence. If I'm reviewing this, I got to listen to at least a little of the commentary, tell people what I think about it. And wouldn't you know it, I ended up sitting through the whole thing and listening to the commentary because the commentary is that good. Brian Reisman, who I was not familiar with, and I now follow him on Twitter. He's like I said, he described himself as a pop culture journalist on his Twitter profile. On here, they describe him as a film critic, but he called himself on Twitter a pop culture journalist. He gives a tremendously good audio commentary. I mean, it is jam-packed with information. Not just information about this movie, but films of the 80s, the cast, what else they've done. It's just rapid fire. Like almost from the beginning, rapid fire information. He just keeps loading you up with knowledge about the movie and everything peripheral to the film. And it's a great commentary track. And I need to learn more about Brian Reisman because I really enjoyed immensely hearing him talk about this movie. I think that's one of the highlights of this disc. And if you do pick this up, if you love the movie, be sure and give that a listen. Now, one thing I will show you, and I didn't do it. I got to fix this. We have the slip sleeve, but the artwork in here is reversible. So you can flip it over and have the original theatrical artwork. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this over and have the original artwork on there. Because that way there we go. Now, I can have the best of both worlds. I have the original theatrical artwork. And when I put the slip sleeve on, I have the new artwork. So I have both. So I like when they do things like that. I wish they would default to the original, so you can have both when you take the slip sleeve off. But there you go. So thank you to our friends at Arrow Video for sending me this. If you're a fan of this movie, certainly pick it up. If it's a movie you've never seen before and you're curious about it, I would give it a recommendation. It's fun. And you get to watch TV's Alyson Hannigan at a young age. A little trivia. In this movie, Alyson Hannigan goes on a date. Her character goes on a date. And who picks her up? But a very young Seth Green. And obviously, Alyson Hannigan and Seth Green would play boyfriend and girlfriend years later on Buffy the Vampire Slayer when he played the werewolf Oz, who was Willow's boyfriend. So you get to see Willow and Oz, their first date many, many years before Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So thank you to Arrow Video. Check this out. My Stepmother's an Alien. And everybody keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open it, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas. And now we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.